Hi everyone, Kathy here with Stand Up, Speak Out, Stop Domestic Abuse. This video is on the next steps in an abusive relationship. I'm going to talk about devaluation and isolation. I'm going to be going over a lot of information, but I'm going to try to keep it brief with simple, small examples. I am going to be writing a more in-depth article on all of these subjects for more clarity. You'll find them across all platforms and on the eventual website in the not too distant future. Hopefully you watched the video on love bombing so that you have a little bit of a heads up as to where we're going. This is the video on the next stages. First, let me say a couple of things that are very important to know. I have notes that I'm referring to because I've been working on this for days and I don't want to miss anything important because all of this is important. First thing, abusive behavior is a choice. Abusers do not lose control. As a matter of fact, they are almost always completely in control. They choose how, who, when, what to use their abuse to their own benefit. They can turn it on and off like a light switch. This is important because, the abuser can seem like a raving lunatic in one moment, and then, boom, in a flash, they're perfectly calm and rational in the next. A very perfect, tragic, sad example of this is the recent news on the police interaction with Gabby Potito and her abuser, Brian Laundrie, her eventual murderer. Witnesses said that they saw him hitting her and yelling at her. He was out of control at that point. But by the time the police arrived, she was a hysterical mess. And he was perfectly calm, rational, and expressing real concern for her well-being as well as his own. This is not uncommon. Matter of fact, this is the norm for the way the abusers act. The second thing that you need to know, domestic abuse can happen to anyone. Anyone. All ages, races, ethnicities, heterosexuals, homosexuals, educational levels, economic levels, gender. Literally anyone can find themselves in an abusive relationship, never really fully understanding how they got there. So, let's dive into it. You have now spent weeks or months being made to feel that you are the most special person on the planet. You are perfect. You are wonderful. They love you with everything they have. They have your trust, your loyalty, and your support without question at this point. Now is when they very subtly, kind of undercover, put you down, insult you, and start to devalue you. It's very slow, and as I said, very subtle, so you don't even realize it's happening. You've become settled happy and content, and you're ready to plunge forward in that perfect life with your perfect person. Their main purpose here is to make you feel weak, stupid, powerless, crazy, and to gain complete control over you. They're so good at reading you, your thoughts, actions, body language. Remember, they've been learning you. They've been studying you. Everything about you for months, weeks. They've learned everything that you feel vulnerable about. They know all of your perceived flaws. They know all of your buttons. They know all of your worries. There isn't anything about you that they have not committed to memory and figured out a way to use against you. Now, during the devaluation stage, they kind of shift around a lot, especially in the beginning, bouncing back and forth from devaluation to love bombing, apologies, gifts, you're amazing, you're terrible. It's a cycle, and it's designed to keep you in play. They are breaking you down and keeping you in place at the same time, because their end goal is to have complete and utter control over you, to destroy you, ultimately destroy everything that you ever were or ever could be. That is their goal. That is what they want to do. And unfortunately, it is so very often exactly what they do. You have already compromised. You dropped your boundaries. At this point, you feel that you need them completely. Confused to what it is that you've done wrong and what you could possibly have done to make things go so bad, because make no mistake, your abuser is going to make you know for a fact that all of this is your fault. So you're sitting and you're waiting and you're putting up with the abuse in total confusion, hoping and praying and waiting for that perfect person to come back and explain to you what the hell is going on. What did you do wrong? How can you fix it? You're trying to figure out what it was that you did to make them change into this monster. And you're not going to. Because at this point, you are firmly now rooted in your own belief of the devaluation that your abuser has created for you. Now, I'm going to briefly touch on some of the signs and behaviors of abuse that go on during this stage. Passive-aggressive behavior, which is when someone indirectly expresses negative feelings instead of being straightforward. An example is they'll sometimes belittle you about something, but make it a joke. And then, harp on you because you don't know how to take a joke. They were just fooling around. It wasn't serious. They didn't mean it. Gaslighting. Gaslighting is huge. It's a giant tool that they use, and it is crazy making. They do things to get a reaction out of you, and then make you feel like you're overreacting, like you're crazy, or you're paranoid. They make things up. They'll tell you things that you've done or said or experienced that never happened. But they have you believing that it did happen and you just don't know. You don't remember. You must be losing your mind. He or she couldn't come up with this giant elaborate story and it not be true. What's wrong with me? They will insult you. They will make fun of you, ridicule you in front of other people, often making it seem lighthearted and fun, like a game. And then later, they can point out to you that your reactions were crazy and you were being unreasonable and acting insane. And everybody thought so. They call you names, insult you about everything. Your looks, your job, personality, hobbies, the way you do the dishes, the way you drive. Just, they rip every little fiber of you down. There's the silent treatment. The silent treatment is horrible. Horrible. You are walking on eggshells the entire time. You are in constant fear of everything that you say or do because of some kind of reprisal coming. You may know what it is that you supposedly did to deserve this silent treatment, but chances are it's just going to happen. You're not going to know why. You're not going to know how to fix it. You're not going to be able to talk about it, and it's going to last for hours, days, weeks, months. It's unbelievably difficult to live in. There is the withdrawal of affection, attention, touch, love, usually because of something they've convinced you that you've done, or just because they've decided that you're fat or stupid or disgusting or irritating or annoying or whatever it is that they know is going to hurt you the most. Withholding sex is another big one. And this comes with some bonuses too, because they're not giving you any intimate attention whatsoever. They're not kissing you, holding your hand, having sex with you, cuddling with you, nothing. But chances are they are being exceptionally flirtatious with other people. In front of you, not in front of you. They're probably watching porn. They're probably mentioned their sexual frustration and their irritation at the fact that you are not worthy to have sex with. You will not be able to convince them to have sex with you until they see fit. And sometimes they will coerce you to attempt to be sexual with them, and they'll play along for a little while, and then they shut you down and they turn you off and they break you. There's also punishments. Punishments can come in many different forms, being yelled at and called names. Oftentimes they take or break your things, specifically things that are important to you, keepsakes, memories, your phone, your computer, your car, your clothing, jewelry. They also like to leave you places. They'll you'll go out to dinner and they'll get up and go to the bathroom and never come back. Now you're alone in a restaurant. You don't have the money. You don't have a car. You don't have your phone. You've just been completely abandoned. They leave you out of things, social occasions, events, friends coming over. You're not allowed to participate. One of the things that abusers absolutely love to do is ruin special occasions. Holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, parties, anything that's special that you've been looking forward to, that you're excited about, that other people are looking forward to you being involved in. They ruin it completely for you. They either leave you completely alone, or they just make a nightmare of the entire occasion. Usually the nightmare is behind closed doors in your own home. They wouldn't take you to a Christmas party and act like a lunatic, because that would be outing themselves. But they'll go to the Christmas party without you and leave you at home and tell everyone at the Christmas party some crazy story about you. They like to shut you down. Oftentimes you will try to talk to them about something that's bothering you, or get an explanation for something that they've done to you, so that you can understand what it is that's going on. This is a huge mistake, because all they're going to do is twist it, manipulate it, turn it around, back on you. It is entirely your fault. You're going to end up apologizing. You're going to be sorry that you brought it up in the first place. You're going to feel terrible. And you're going to end that conversation so much worse off than you started. You're going to start doubting yourself. All of these steps are helping them to deplete your ability to process critical thinking. They say things to you like, "What is even wrong with you? No wonder such and such never liked you. No wonder nobody wants to hang out with you. What are you, crazy?" They take your convictions and your beliefs and they turn them around and they use them against you. They take something that you believe about yourself and they make it bad. So a simple example, you know that you are a really good driver. You've been driving since you're 15 years old when you got your permit. You've never had an accident, a ticket, nothing. You follow the laws, everything. You know for a fact that you are a good driver. Well, they're going to start making comments about your speed, your lane change, your use of turn signals, how you park, the attention that you pay, anything, everything, and convince you that in all actuality you are a terrible driver. And this plants the seeds of doubt in your subconscious about everything, and you no longer have any confidence in yourself, any self-worth, any anything. You're completely lost. They will often act perfect. They turn back into that perfect person that you knew in the beginning when you're around other people. They are the end-all, be-all of whatever the occasion is. They're the most liked person in the room. Everybody wants to talk to them. Everyone is laughing at their jokes and having conversations with them and agreeing with them. They pretend within earshot of others that everything with you is great. If they get the chance, under their breath, they're going to insult you and belittle you and try to get some kind of a reaction out of you in front of people that they don't know what the reaction is because of. So it makes you look bad. This can also be happening while you're in the silent treatment or the punishment phase, which leaves you completely lost because you don't even know how to act at all. You just sit there and you're quiet and you don't even talk to anybody. Somebody talks to you, it's like, hi, yeah, good, nice. And you don't talk to anybody. You don't move. You don't dare. God forbid you're going to pay for it on the way home. And then on the way home, or when you get home, it's back to the usual abuse. This last thing that I was just talking about, being in public, is a part of the isolation process too. They use this in the isolation process, which we're going to be getting to shortly. Accusing you of things you never did or said. This is going to be a really silly example, but let's say that he or she are talking to you about a conversation that you had about a carton of milk. They're going to turn that conversation, which, by the way, probably never even happened, and they are going to twist it and turn it into proof that you have lost your mind, you're completely insane, there's something really, really wrong with you, and that you need some kind of help. And you're lucky that you have someone like them, because you're nuts and nobody else is ever going to want to be with you or deal with you or have to go through this. They're going to start damaging your reputation, which is also a part of the isolation phase. They'll start to tell your and their friends and family strange things about you and your behavior. They're going to make up stories. They're going to embellish stories. They're going to continue to grow these stories and change these stories until people actually believe it. And they start to feel bad for your abuser. And they want to help them get away from you because you're such bad news. And unfortunately, because of the cycle of abuse that you're in, you are acting differently. You are acting strangely. But nobody knows why. All they know is what your abuser is telling them. And they end up taking your abuser's side. You feel, literally, you feel like you are crazy. Like you are insane. You have lost your mind. This was their plan for you before they ever even knew your name. You can't voice your opinions. You can't ask for help because nobody's there. nobody's going to believe you anyway. By this point, you are completely dependent on them for everything. Finances, love, attention, transportation, food, basic necessities, everything. There's no way out. There's nowhere to go. There's nobody to help you. There's no way for you to get there. And you're surely not capable of taking care of yourself. You have no memory of who you were. You don't know who you are. You don't have the ability to think for yourself. You can't process anything. And you don't react well, or sometimes even at all, in emergency situations. You're feeling ashamed and embarrassed and are firm in the belief that nobody will believe what you said anyway. You are sure that everyone is judging you and has taken the abuser's side. Often in abusive relationships, there is physical violence that comes along with all of what we're talking about. This, of course, is the most dangerous, immediate issue because of the potential for disaster, the potential for you being seriously hurt or killed. However, that is not always true. Physical violence is not always a part of an abusive relationship. And you don't have to be hit to be caught in the cycle of the nightmare of abuse. And the psychological damage that's being done to you is and can be so much worse. It will alter you and the course of your life forever. Coming back from that is an exceptionally difficult journey. It is possible. It is done all the time. There are success stories everywhere. I'm one of them. It is possible, but it's hard. And when you're at this point, you don't believe that it is possible. Now, isolation plays a very, very key part in domestic abuse. It keeps the victims from reaching out, getting advice, getting them help, and it keeps them completely dependent on the person who's abusing them. Because victims become so isolated, it's difficult for friends and family to even know that something is wrong, to know that anything is happening. The victim won't say and will actually defend their abuser with everything they've got, while the abuser is convincing everyone that the victim is a lunatic. Learning to recognize the signs of isolation can help you to help your loved one out of the abuse. And we're going to go over that at a later time in a different video. Isolation happens when the abuser takes control of their victim's activities, social events, interactions, who they talk to, when they talk to them, where they go, who they go with. They gain control of everything. It usually starts with the abuser not liking a specific person or place or thing, and it spreads from there. They'll often display jealousy and start questioning where you've been, where the victim's been, what they've been doing, who they've been with, accusing them of cheating or flirting. They start calling you all the time, checking up on you all the time, demanding that you account for every minute of every day. And God forbid if you should miss a phone call or not remember what you did for an hour. You are a cheater, a liar, and in so much trouble. Like, the punishment that's about to hit you is unbelievable. Many abusers will find issues, most, not even many, most, almost all abusers will find issues with their partners, their victims' place of employment. Be it a coworker, the hours, the place. They start causing problems, issues at the workplace with the victim who acts out at the workplace, and eventually the victim either ends up quitting or getting fired. Now, completely financially dependent on the abuser. They often get you to the point where, I think I mentioned it already, you are reporting to them your moment-to-moment daily activities, which you are often not believed, which usually leads to one of the punishment stages. And after so much of this, the victim ends up resigning themselves to the will of their abuser. They do, say, act, dress exactly the way that they are told to. In very severe cases, victims are not even able to leave the house without the presence of their abuser. They're locked in. Their cars are taken away from them. Their phones, their computers, any method of outside contact with the world is completely removed, and they are left trapped like a prisoner in their own home. They also sometimes, if they don't take your phone or your computer or your car, they install tracking mechanisms on them so that they can monitor what you do. They do all of these things. They gain control, total control over you, and they isolate you completely. Unfortunately, after enough time passes, people start disappearing. Your friends, your family. One by one, everyone fades away. Nobody's talking to you anymore. What's the point? You don't talk to them. You don't ever go anywhere. You don't do anything. And they give up. And they leave you completely alone. These two processes, devaluation and isolation, are designed, planned, and put in place purposely to keep the victim from reaching out for help and making the victim 100% dependent on their abuser for everything in their life. And because of the calculated way that this process is done, the victim often feels that their abuser is justified in their behavior, that everything that they're being subjected to is something that they deserve. This makes it nearly impossible to escape. This is why awareness and education are so important to combat this epidemic. Knowing the signs of abuse from the outside can literally save lives. The lives of people that you love, of people that you know. Your family, your sister, your brother, your child, your mom, your best friend, your next door neighbor. It's happening everywhere. If you're not in it, I promise you, you know someone who is. It's one of the reasons that I've said a few times, and I will continue to say, if you suspect that someone is in an abusive relationship, do not leave them. No matter what. I mean, you can't be there constantly, but pop by once a month. Make a phone call. Stop by and ask for a cup of sugar. Drop off a chair you don't need anymore. Oh, you stopped at the store and you saw this dress, it'd be perfect for you. Just so that you're showing up. They're seeing you. They're knowing. You're planting a seed. You are now planting a good seed that there is someone there that they can reach out to. If you know or suspect someone is in an abusive relationship, there are ways you can help. There are many ways you can help, and there are many ways you can help without putting yourself in danger. At the end of this series of videos, I am going to go over the different ways that you can help, the different things that you can look for, and the different ways that you can help someone get out of an abusive relationship. In the meantime, if you suspect or know of an abusive relationship, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to your local abuse shelter. You can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. That number is 800-799-SAFE. 800-799-7233. And of course, you can always talk to the police, an attorney, even your doctor. They're trained to help people in these situations. So that's pretty much what I got on isolation and devaluation. Please, if you feel that you have questions or comments or you need more information, reach out to me. I will provide it for you. If you need help, reach out to me. I will provide it for you. I have the resources. I have the experience. I have the knowledge. I have networks everywhere to get you the help that you need, to get you out, to keep you safe, and to help you rebuild your life. The next series of videos, the next video is going to be on the discard abandonment stage. Also a rough one with a lot of content. It's a horrible, long, painful process. So you're going to have to buckle in for that one too. If you are in an emergency situation, if you feel that your life or your well-being is in danger, dial 911. Do not wait. Do not stay. Keep yourself safe. Dial 911. And regardless of what your abuser says, when the police are there, if the police will not make him leave, you leave while the police are there. And you go somewhere he or she cannot find you. Pick up the phone, make the call, stay alive. With love and strength, and I'll see you all soon.